Called the Tuesday, March 2nd meeting of the St. Joseph County Board of Commissioners to order. Please stand for the pledge.
And to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first order of business on the agenda is the opening reading of bids. The St. Joseph County Highway 2021 annual bids. Sky, I'll just turn this over to you and you can just announce. I'm not sure if they're going to be in the same order as they're on the agenda, so you can take it away. Please state your name and address for the record.
Sky Metters, interim county engineer with offices on the 7th and 11th floor of the building. And I will be going through these bids and listing who has provided a bid, and then we'll request that they be turned over to the Division of Engineering for review. Thank you, Marie, for putting together the list. For drainage pipe, structure, guardrail, and bridge materials, we received a bid from American Timber Bridge out of Portage, Indiana. Debco Metal Culverts out of Francisville, Indiana. James Drew Corporation out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Metal Culverts, Inc. out of Jefferson City, Missouri. Then for traffic paint and signage materials, we received bids from Allstate Coatings Company out of Gladewater, Texas. Davies Imperial Coatings, Inc. out of Hammond, Indiana. Innis Flint, Inc. out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Osborne Associates, Inc. out of Logan, Ohio. For miscellaneous aggregates, we received bids from Aggregate Industries out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. The Clink Group out of Ashley, Indiana. Phoenix Services LLC out of Portage, Indiana. And Reith Riley Construction Company, Inc. out of South Bend, Indiana. For liquid bituminous materials, we received bids from Asphalt Materials, Inc. out of Indianapolis, Indiana. The Clink Group out of Ashley, Indiana. For fuels, oils, lubricants, and miscellaneous materials, we received bids from Bellman Oil Company out of Bremen, Indiana. Brandt Benson Co-Alliance out of Buchanan, Michigan. Gladio Energy out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Ceres Solutions out of Wabash, Indiana. And Yoder Oil Company, Inc. out of Elkhart, Indiana. For bituminous patching materials, we received bids from Milestone Contractors North, Inc. out of South Bend, Indiana. Findon Brown, Inc. out of Milford, Indiana. And Reith Riley Construction Company, Inc. out of South Bend, Indiana. Also, we had received notice of a bid that was sent in on Friday, and we received the tracking number for that bid, and it was due to be delivered yesterday, and that we have not been able to locate that bid, or it has not been delivered yet. It was from Petroleum Traders Corporation out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, for the fuel and fuel oil, lubricants, and miscellaneous materials. We would request that if that bid does come in today, that we allow that bid to be added to the list.
Counselor?
You can waive irregularities, and they provided a tracking number. It was set to be received yesterday, so it's not a fault of the vendor in this instance.
Excellent.
So we would request that these bids be accepted and turned over to the Division of Engineering for review.
Were there any other bids that
Yes.
that individuals thought should have been received and have not been received? Excellent. Hearing none, then is there a motion to accept these bids, including our wayward bid, should it come in time?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Sky.
Thank you.
Have fun. Reports and requests. The first thing before we jump in under commissioners is I would like to add an item to the agenda. I took action last week in partnership with other county organizations to instruct the health department to begin moving forward with hiring staff, necessary staff and personnel to continue the vaccination program, immunization, since we were receiving more vaccines from the state, to make sure that that didn't get slowed down. So I would like to take formal action at this meeting to make it easier for the auditor and HR than that we have actual formal action taken. So Counselor, how do I do that?
Is there a motion to change the agenda to add the item that we discussed? Or amend the agenda to add the item we discussed?
Does that motion exist?
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Motion passes. Next.
Action item time. A motion to approve the emergency authorization that was issued last week.
Does that motion exist?
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We will get something in writing then that we can distribute.
We'll still go to council. I'm assuming council will still act on it, and then you'll have that coming back to you as well.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to the accounts payable docket. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the accounts payable docket.
Second. Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. That moves us to employee of the month. So I think it's in talking about the health department. This employee is certainly well deserving, as is the entire department. But Mark Espish has done just a fantastic job through this entire crisis. I can count on multiple hands a number of meetings that I've been at with Mark and working with local restaurants, bar owners, other business owners to try and make sure that they keep their workers safe, their patrons safe. And he's always had the attitude of how can we make this work versus let me tell you how to run your business. So I know that doesn't always get reported that way in different media outlets, but Mark has been just fantastic in working. And I've received numerous phone calls, emails, text messages from local business owners, very pleased and appreciative of the great work that Mark has done through this process and other processes as well. I don't want to limit it just to the COVID piece. So be it known that on the second day of March 2021, the Board of Commissioners of St. Joseph County, Indiana, and the City of South Bend hereby confer the award of Employee of the Month, March 2021, to Mark in recognition of his dedication to the health of the citizens of St. Joseph County during the COVID-19 pandemic by consulting with schools, election officials, courts, and area restaurants to ensure compliance with all necessary mitigation strategies. Before we call Mark up, is there anything, either the Board of Commissioners or anyone from the public, Dr. Bob, for example, any comments that folks would like to make? If you please come up, stand at the, please state your name and address for the record.
Bob Einters, Health Officer, St. Joseph County Department of Health, 8th floor. I'd just like to echo your comments and thank you for recognizing Mark. As you noted, beyond the multiple hours that he has spent with numerous establishments around the city and around the county, he's also played a really major role in setting up the vaccination clinic out at Hedwig and is working first thing in the morning and the last one in the evening. So thank you so much for recognizing him for his really remarkable efforts.
Thank you. Mark, if you want to come up, we'll take a quick socially distanced picture.
Dr. Bob, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Good.
Moving on, Resolution R8C 2021, expressing support for local control of land use decisions. So this is a resolution passed by a number of boards of commissioners and other governmental entities across the state. There's pending legislation that passed through the House is now in the Indiana Senate. It kind of limits the control that local units of government have as it relates to wind and solar projects. While I certainly believe some uniformity and some standardization of the practices across the state are a good thing, I don't like that this particular piece we could have very sound reasons for why we would not want a project to go in a certain area. And we don't have the ultimate control over that. They could, if they want to oppose and appeal this, it could go to the IURC and they would have the final say so. So we think that's inappropriate use and kind of a reach. And it may not be intended, but it's a reach nonetheless. So I think this is why I'm in support of this resolution. Any questions or comments from either the members of the Board of Commissioners?
Well, I'm certainly in support of this too, because I think it's really good that, that we commissioners decide and our local citizens decide what we want to have, where we want to have it, instead of having the state company decide where it's going to be. And it's House Bill 1381, which got passed. Oh my. So I'm glad we're doing this. We can push it, that we commissioners don't want to support this at all. We want to make it a local event. So anyway, that's just, hopefully you can hear me. Any other comments?
Any other questions or comments?
I am in support.
All right, hearing none then, is there a motion?
Motion to support this resolution R-8-C-2021 for expressing our support for local control of land use decisions.
I think that's going to be after this. I think, yeah, we're going to take action on this and then I think we're going to be presented. Yes.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Now I believe we have very exciting news that fits.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Shallow with Economic Development with offices on the 7th and the 11th floor. Here today, excited to talk about our recent, I guess it's not so recent, but designation as a Soul Smart community. I'm going to turn this part of the presentation over to Leah with MACOG as she will present not only the Soul Smart Award, but also talk to you a little bit about what the designation is. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Good morning, Leah Thill with the Michiana Area Council of Governments with offices on the 11th floor. And yes, this is about a year after the formal designation was issued, but we wanted to take some time now and kind of explain that process. And it really fits well with your statement about some legislation pertaining to solar because the county did pass an ordinance last February kind of specifying siting and standards in this county. So go ahead and go to the next slide there. So a little background, MACOG's work in this area started back in 2017 when we saw these slides compare 2012 to 2020. We saw this really accelerating increase in solar and wanted to help local governments be proactive in responding, becoming solar ready, training staff and that kind of thing. So that's where we began this work. Another reason, if you go to the next slide, another reason is the local economic development potential of these projects. You'll see the concentration on the map there of jobs in different states versus jobs within different counties in Indiana. St. Joseph County is actually number 3 in this state, and statewide, 80% of those jobs are in the installation sector, and you can't really outsource those jobs because the panels are being installed here locally. So a lot of local governments were interested in that potential, and now more recently, as the costs of solar have fallen to be competitive with other fuel sources, utilities have really made some big commitments to transition to solar. And so we're seeing potential for increases in tax base with utility scale projects, as well as landowner payments, those kind of benefits to the community. So we wanted to take a look and be more proactive at these opportunities coming down the road. So go ahead and go to the next slide. So I want to give you a little background on Soul Smart program. It is a U.S. Department of Energy program. And it has a roadmap to make it easier, more affordable, and faster to go solar. It recognizes local governments for these achievements And really, St. Joseph County has been working on this since 2017 through the building department work that was going on during those early days up until the ordinance was passed in 2020, which is really what's required to get the highest level of designation. And the goal is to signal that the county is open for solar business and has really done their due diligence, looked internally at processes to make things clear how siting and standards do apply in the community. So this just shows the different designated communities. We have 7 now in our region. Indianapolis is difficult to see. That's the one other community in Indiana that's designated outside of our region, and they are the silver level. So St. Joseph County would surpass them in that. So go ahead and go to the next slide. Here are some examples of what was done over the last few years. Streamlining local processes for permitting, inspections, applications, then compiling and posting that information online to say how it's specific to solar, the types of permits required, and then training those inspectors and staff so that they know how to handle this newer technology so that they can handle the increasing number of permits. Providing training resources to fire departments, which is really important so that they're equipped to safely respond to solar, because you can't turn a solar panel off. So that's really essential to understand. So that information was distributed. And then we held education workshops, including in New Carlisle. It was important to us to hold these in some rural communities because of the interest from farmers. And this presentation in New Carlisle, we had the USDA come and talk about their grant programs, which are specific to energy projects like solar that farmers can benefit from. And then also, this just shows information that's now posted online for installers and individuals. Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. And then the big item, zoning code, this just clarified where are different size projects permitted in different districts, where is a special use required, where there will be public hearings and opportunity for citizens to get more involved in those projects and with the developer. There's a security fund for decommissioning, which is important at the end of the life of these projects, 25, 30 years, so that they really truly can be returned to, for example, ag land. That's really important to a lot of folks. And then the really important thing to note is that St. Joseph County was the first county in Indiana to include a pollinator-friendly requirement. Since then, in 2020, about 10 other counties have followed suit to follow St. Joseph County in that. And the goal is for that to benefit. There's a conservation benefit, which is harder and harder to find land to do conservation practices surrounding ag land. So there's a co-benefit when that land's already being set aside for a few decades for solar. But then in addition, reducing stormwater impacts, and then improving the quality and the organic matter in the soil. So it's like a long-term cover crop when that's eventually returned to farming. So that we felt that was really important. The industry standard is gravel or turf grass, and that doesn't really do anything to restore the soil for farming. So that was something that was really important to highlight there. Go ahead, go to the next slide. But to assist developers, since this is newer and really comes from Minnesota and is growing in interest in the industry, but MACOG created a technical guide with help from Area Plan that we have hosted on our website at macog.com/solar_energy.html. And then we worked with Purdue University, who also last year published a scorecard to help staff evaluate in a less subjective way vegetation management plans and planting seed mixes, that kind of thing, to evaluate those in a fair way. So those resources are available. So any solar developers listening to this presentation should check out those resources as well. Go ahead and go to the next slide. And then I just want to kind of highlight, since the designations happened, we're kind of starting to see more of those larger solar projects come to the community, and they'll be required to be pollinator friendly. The first one I want to highlight is really nearing completion. The panels are up. This is out by Cleveland and Bittersweet near the toll road. The St. Joseph Solar Farm by Indiana Michigan Power, AEP, with a partnership with the University of Notre Dame. It'll be powering the equivalent of 2,700 homes. So this is a very substantial and exciting project. And this is kind of what we anticipated. The county did due diligence, and now we're kind of prepared to handle the siting and standards for these kind of projects. So the next slide shows the North Liberty Elementary project, which is also nearing completion in the John Glenn School District. So that's pretty exciting, and I understand that there's interest in this county and across the region from other developers interested in how projects would fit and be appropriate in this county. So Go ahead and go to the final slide. I'm just really pleased after a number of years of working through this process to recognize the county for taking this work on and earning the highest level of designation from the Department of Energy for this work. So a big congratulations to you all and to your staff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we can do the photo after if you'd like, or
Sure, that'd be,
Okay.
yep, that'd be great. As always, thank MACOG and thank the work that our county council did. Bill Shalio, Economic Development, and Chris. I think it's just, once again, it's as we look to promote development across St. Joseph County, we take the initial steps that are necessary to make that development better and easier. So I appreciate all of your efforts. And it's nice to see us again as a county leading the way in many of the things that happen. So thank you so much.
Are we doing questions on this or another time for questions?
We can do questions afterward.
No, I'll get with you. I've got like a lot of questions, so we'll do that. Okay, thank you.
Sure, certainly. Jordan White, if the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so happy to see this finally happening. Unfortunately, oh yeah, sorry, Jordan Wyatt, 610 Northeast Street, Indianapolis, Indiana, for the record. Again, yeah, I'm really happy and congratulations for finally receiving this. I, along with Leah's help, authored the ordinance that got us this designation last year. And I couldn't have done it without her help. And this program was in our mind the entire time. And we wanted to make St. Joseph County a leader in this and an example for the entire state. And we really have done that. So St. Joseph County should just be really proud, especially about that pollinator requirement. Being the first in Indiana to do that was a huge step. And I'm so glad to hear that other counties have followed suit. So again, yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, Jordan. Good to hear from you again. Hope everything's going well.
Thank you.
All right. I think we will move on then to survey services with Dan Charner and Associates, Inc. for property located at 1126 South Lafayette Boulevard, South Bend, Indiana. I think, Counselor?
What's the question relative to this agenda item?
So just, we've got an agreement in place. I guess, Mr. Commissioner Dieter, I'll let you step in.
Sure. Once I came on here, there was some things left over from last year. The people that own the property at 1126 Lafayette, which stores both city and county archives, which is a pretty unique building if you've never been in it, and the amount of stuff we have. There's also, Mr. County Officer, police roll calls from the late 1890s down there if you want to see if Ron Glahn might be on that list. But it's very feasible that we should purchase this building instead of rent it. If not, they're going to sell it. And at this time, we've got a third party working for the county to make sure all this goes like we'd like it to. There's another company in there renting, which they would move out, and we have some other property on Olive, I think, with the voting machines. It could also move into there. So it makes sense that we get this done. I think the process, which our attorney explained, is ongoing. I don't give a date, but it just makes sense for us to purchase that building, and we have all of our stuff in one place.
You're working with the real estate professionals, giving some assistance, and recommending you hire Dan Turner to do the survey and other associated work. Just do our due diligence on the project.
There you go.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve these survey services.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on, DLZ agreement modification number 1, remodel and capital improvements related to CARES Act.
Yes, Mr. Castelli, as you're aware, there was ongoing work at the St. Joseph County Jail in late 2020 to undertake upgrades there using CARES Act dollars. The work, due to supplies not being available due to COVID and just making sure that we schedule the work sensitively around the needs of the jail and the jail staff, there's some work that needs to be completed. It's anticipated that the scope of that work will be completed by the end of March of this year. As such, there's additional construction oversight and supervisory services that the folks from DLZ will need to provide during this extended construction period. This agreement amends the total compensation they would receive pursuant to their original agreement from 210 up to an amount not to exceed $250,000. They provided a hourly rate basis for this as set forth in paragraph 4 of the agreement. I'm happy to answer any questions about it, but this is not due to any fault of any contractor or DLZ or anybody like that or anything at the jail. It was just a matter of supplies not being available due to COVID and supply chain issues, as well as just scheduling.
I see Joe Z is on the call as well. So are there any questions from the board on this? Hearing none, is there a motion?
A motion to approve these DLZ agreement first modifications for the county, St. Joseph County Jail remodeling.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to the county police request approval of vehicle purchase.
Good morning, Dean Chandler, 4141 West Lathrop Street. In February of last year, I bidded out a prisoner transportation vehicle. We have a PO for it. Pandemic hit in. I still haven't got it. It's another 6 to 8 months, so I was able to have the order canceled from GMC. I bidded out a Ford Expedition long body, and I can get that in 12 to 14 weeks. I talked to Bree, and we could reissue the PO from last year to Jordan Ford, who was a government bid. And it's $560 less. So I'd like to go with the Ford instead of the GMC.
Questions or comments?
Good work.
So you're going to actually then move forward with purchasing it from Jordan Ford, right?
Jordan Ford, yes. And there should be a copy that shows that the GMC order, which was never filled, is canceled.
There are no more questions or comments. Is there a motion?
A motion to approve this vehicle purchase from Jordan Ford.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, procurement request approval of Logan Community Resources Services Funding Agreement. Ms. Bree.
Good afternoon, Bree Roberts with offices on the 7th floor of this building. So this is an agreement between Logan Community Resources and the county for funding that has been ongoing forever. I tried to find when this was actually instated and could not do so. Neither could archives. So it's been a long time. What actually happened was in our most recent audit through the auditor's office, State Board Accounts basically said that we needed to have some sort of agreement, not necessarily a contract, but a funding agreement in place. So this is the culmination of that effort. If you do have any questions for Logan specifically, I do also have Doug Kroll here from Logan.
Are there in fact any questions?
No.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, a motion to approve this Logan Community Resources Services Funding Agreement.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Moving on to PSAP, request approval of I Am Responding Contract Amendment. Mr. Ray.
Good morning. Ray Schultz, Executive Director at PSAP, Office at 58266 Downey Avenue. Requesting an amendment to an agreement that you guys signed last month. It's a extension renewal of our I Am Responding contract. We get a discount for paying up front. My bad for not including that. That was always the plan, but it was excluded from the contract language. So this is an amendment allowing us, we have cash on hand to pay it up front, and we see a savings for that. So request your approval.
Thank you, Ray. Commissioner Dieter, this kind of falls under your purview. Are you comfortable?
Yes, I am. Ray's doing a great job. People over there working very hard. We're working on some other things on that, but yes, I'm total agreement in this.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments? Is Is there a motion?
A motion to approve this contract amendment number 1.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Next, infrastructure planning and growth. Request approval of resolution R7C2021 FEMA home buyout grant purchase.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chris Brown, Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth on the 7th and 11th floors of this building. Before you is another resolution detailing a purchase agreement for one of the properties in our pre-disaster mitigation grant program. This is located at 20286 Jackson Road. This is similar to the other purchase agreements that you guys have signed in over the last couple of meetings. So we would request approval. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Are there in fact any questions or comments for that matter? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve these purchases through the FEMA home buyout grant.
Second.
If motion is second, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Chris,
Thank
as
you.
we continue to inch along to this project completion, but thanks for your
Yes.
continued hard work in making this happen. All right.
Mr. Castelli, Mr. Metters, did we receive the petroleum traders bid? I saw you sashay in with something in your hand, so.
Actually, we received notice that we received 2 other bids that weren't the petroleum bid, but based on the packing slips that I see, it appears that these may have gone the same route as the others. So what I do have here is from Ozark Materials LLC, Glendale, Alabama, for traffic paint and signage material. And then for fuel, oils, lubricants, and miscellaneous materials, Joseph Vanderpool out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. I would request that we, if able, waive the abnormalities and accept these bids.
Counselor,
Be fair.
questions or comments? We need to take a formal motion and accept those.
Yes.
Does that motion exist?
So moved.
Second.
Motion
you.
is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to old business, seeing none. Public comments. Are there any public comments? Hearing none?
See, but I would like to thank City Clerk Don Jones for coming to our meeting today. There we go. That's all I got.
If there are no more public comments, a motion to recess is in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Tough luck. We are recessed.